Hi, thanks for joining me. If you did not realize the reason why my show is called Everything and Anything, I'm going to tell you why. Because I love to interview and talk about any subject that I like to talk about. There's so many different things that interest me, and I like talking about the paranormal stuff. I love to talk to people that can do healing. I love people that I want to do somebody that's been abducted by an alien. I love the missing person, like somebody that just like completely disappeared and you have no idea. They have no idea where they went. Not a child. I don't like talking about kids disappearing, but as an adult, I love those type of stories where one day they were there and the next day they're just completely vanished and nobody has no idea what happened to them. Um, and not necessarily like they got murdered. I'm thinking like they just decided to disappear. They wanted to go off the grid and they just left, or something in the universe took them. And I've done a couple of stories like that, and I just love those type of stories. Cults are very interesting to me too. Just the fact that people's whole lives are sometimes run by these cults. But the reason why I love telling a cult story is because I love to talk about the people that survive the cults, that escape the cults, that get out of the cults. That's what I love to talk about. I love a person that has talked how they have changed their life around. And my guest today that I have, she's got such a great story. So she was part of the Moon family cult, and they have been in the news multiple times. There's a Netflix documentary or series about them, and her name is Jonghee Celeste. And she is such a survivor, and she was a little nervous coming onto the podcast because I don't think she's done podcasts until I asked her to do them. But she did a great job, and she got very emotional during this last interview. And she's in a great place in her life. She's converting to Judaism. She's got a boyfriend. She's a teacher. She just got her shit together. And I just really, really appreciate her as a person. And I left that interview just feeling so good when we ended because she has a good life now. She turned herself around. She was very strong. There was a point where she was going to commit suicide because she was so unhappy being a part of this cult. And she didn't, thank God. And she just really is a survivor. And those are the type of stories I like to tell people whenever they survive. They've gone through a tough time, possibly. They've had a shitty time, but now they are a survivor and they are living their full life to their full potential. And that's what I think Jonghee Celeste is doing. So enjoy this podcast. Let me know what you think. And hopefully we will find somebody in the future that you can listen to that has been abducted by aliens. And I know that's who I'm searching for. I also want to do some more missing people podcast. I interviewed this guy named Scott who had somebody that he knew or knew somebody, and the person was 14 years old and got up from doing a Ouija board and walked out at 14 years old, walked out the front door, and they never found her. Those are the type of stories I think are interesting. Like, where did this person go? She just got up because of the Ouija board and just like left, and nobody has any idea where she's at. So I just love those kind of unsolved crime stories, I guess is what you call it for. I don't love it that she was 14, but I love it that she just like got up and left and like, who knows where she went? Where do you go at 14 years old? Like you can't support yourself. So like, did she just disappear? And I want to hear what people's theories are about when these people disappear or where do they think they went? So enjoy this podcast, leave a message, and learn more about the Moonies family cult. Thanks for listening. Hi, thanks for joining me on the Everything and Anything and a Bit Gay podcast. Today I have a guest who I'm so excited for you to learn about. Her name is Jonghee Celeste. She is part of a cult. and we're going to talk about her life growing up in the cult, and she's going to give us all these details about it. So, welcome to my show.
Hi, thank you so much, Zai, for having me on.
So, tell me how you grew up. Your family basically, you grew up in the cult when you were born. Is that correct?
Yes, I was raised in. I'm no longer part of this cult. I kind of took my step back around maybe 15, and me and my 5 sisters, none of us are involved in any way. My parents still very much are, and they've even converted some of our family members.
Really?
So that's kind of interesting. But so I was raised in what used to be a very well-known cult called the Moonies, which was started by the Reverend Sun Myung Moon, a Korean man, and the cult was established in 1954. And basically, the whole claim was that he was the second coming of Christ.
And did you ever meet him?
Well, they used to have an estate up in Westchester, Tarrytown, I guess, actually.
Yeah.
And so we would go there, and he would be there, and like they own the property, and he would kind of come and go. So like I had like some brief passings with him, but like I never like got to officially meet him or anything. And it was like a thing for like if he like was walking up the aisle, that you would try to reach out and touch his clothes because then you would touch Christ.
Gotcha.
And which is pretty wild. Yeah. So there were some. What they're most known for is their mass weddings. And my parents did this, but not in one of the, and like they did this like Madison Square Garden a couple of
times. Yes, I heard about this.
Yeah, they've done this and that, and that was actually the first wedding I ever went to.
Oh, really? And how many thousands of people were there? It was very packed, right?
Well, yeah, because it would be like thousands of couples at a time, like hundreds of thousands of couples at a time. And the way that he would do it is that he would just like point at 2 people and say, you and you.
Oh, so you wouldn't go there knowing who you're marrying. He would pick somebody for you that day.
My parents knew each other for a couple of hours.
Wow.
So before deciding they had to say yes.
And do they have a choice to say yes or no?
To some extent, yes. Like they give you a little time to like go talk to the person. But then if you say no, you're kind of become a pariah.
Got it.
And also a lot of these broke off pretty quickly.
And so your parents got married. They were both part of the cult, and they were chosen to be married. And then they got married, and then they started having children, basically.
Well, yeah, you only end up with 5 daughters if you really want to have a son.
Like, say that one more time.
I said you only end up with 5 daughters if you really want to have a son.
Okay, got it.
So that's why I have 4 sisters.
Yeah.
So,
and what's your living conditions like whenever you're growing up? Are you living just with your family, your siblings, and your mom and dad, or is there other people that are living with you?
So my mother is Italian American.
Mm-hmm.
Her parents were like super from Italy. So like she grew up with that immigrant experience.
Yes.
And my dad came here in the early 80s from Peru.
From Peru.
Like that was another thing about the whole matching situation, is that like everyone would specifically try to match people from different cultures.
Okay.
The whole thing was like supposed to be about like, creating interracial, international harmony.
Okay.
That was like, what he claimed, let's say that. So my dad made sure that we had a house, like a nice house, even if it wasn't in the best place in the world. But it was, because Queens, New York is the greatest place in the world. So,
yeah.
So growing up, we basically always had someone staying with us from the cult.
Okay.
People living with us for long term, people like crashing here for a couple of months, like, doing whatever we could for anyone who was associated with it. it was kind of like a commune experience in a little bit of a way.
Yeah, that's what it sounds like, yeah. And did your mom and dad have regular jobs where they were
One
earning
of
money?
and my dad was a computer scientist, so but he did work for the cult for a lot of my childhood.
Okay. And is this a cult where they're wanting most of your money as you come into the cult, where they're trying to take everything that you have, basically?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. They sucked you dry.
Wow. So you grow up with this cult. Do you know that you're different from other kids? Like, are you going to a public school? Are you being taught at home? Like, how are you being educated as you're growing up?
Well, considering that my mother was a school teacher, she was very adamant about the fact that we go to public school.
Mhm.
We did go to Catholic school for a little while, which actually made her more uncomfortable. And so actually, I had kind of three parents because I had my mother, my father, and then my aunt, who was not biologically my aunt, but was my father's spiritual mother, meaning
Mhm.
she's the one who brought him into the cult. And all three of them were raised Catholic.
Okay.
So the three of them kind of negotiated on like how to raise us. And she lived with us until her death a couple years ago. And they didn't like our environment in Catholic school. They very much didn't. So they sent us to public school, and they wanted us to adapt as much as possible. Everyone could tell something was off with me.
Mhm.
And that was kind of that was very isolating.
Yeah, were you bullied or anything by kids? 'Cause kids are so mean, I think. So, or were they just
Over my name alone, you don't think I was bullied?
yeah. I mean, kids are so mean, I think. So that's why I'm not surprised.
Now I'm a teacher, and so I know how mean kids are.
Yeah.
And but yeah, over my name alone, that was enough. And it was also weird that like I like to watch old movies. It was weird that I like to read. It was weird that I, did whatever, and anything I did, everyone's like, she's weird. We don't like her.
And were your siblings kind of sticking up for you as you were going through school together? Were you guys kind of banding together in some way?
Well, my older sister, eventually when I ended up going to high school with her, she was my superhero. She did everything she could to like get me on the map with like all the cool teachers and to introduce me to her friends and like proudly display me. I think she's part of the reason that I ended up like getting so much traction in terms of like my theater life, like because that's what I do. I do theater. And my immediate younger sister, she just was like, she was prettier than me. So she just kind of was always like the cool girl. And she's very,
Yeah.
and she's very demure. And so it's like, she just kind of got by.
Yeah.
Two younger ones, and like, it was just like, there was too much of an age gap for that to be in effect.
So, what was a typical day like? Like, what made it so different being part of this cult as you were growing up with your siblings? I mean, yes, that your parents were in an arranged marriage. That's not normal in today's society, at least in the United States. And also, giving most of your possessions and money to the, Reverend Moon. That's not normal either. But like, what other things that were not normal as you were growing up compared to today's society?
Well, we had to get up at 5:30 every morning to do kandake.
What's that?
That was like a prayer like thing.
Okay.
So first of all, we'd have to bow to the pictures of the Reverend Moon and his wife,
Mm-hmm.
and then we'd have to do readings. And we had to do this at 5:30 in the morning, even before school. Like it didn't matter if it was a school day or not. Like, and then you'd have to discuss the readings.
Mm.
And at least thankfully, my parents found a children-friendly version.
Mhm.
Like, lets you, like, at the end, like, it gave you, like, a movie recommendation. And I don't know if they know that this, like, just kind of also fed into my movie obsession that I already had.
Yeah.
Because I had horrible insomnia, so I'd basically be up all night anyway. And it would suggest different movies and stuff that would be like, this will teach your child the purpose of this, like, suggestion. And it was, so we had to do that. And then there comes the very, very, like, extreme, considering the allegations that have since come out about Rock and Moon, kind of the things about not having sex ever.
Oh, so you're not ever supposed to have sex
You're not supposed to have sex before marriage, and
before
like
marriage?
in
Okay.
a really extreme way.
Tell me, like, what is that? Like, what happens if you have, you have a boyfriend and you're 17 years old and you have sex with them? That
So,
would
like,
be,
have a boyfriend.
there's no boyfriend.
No, you can't have a boyfriend. You need to wait for the matching.
And at what age do they usually try to match you at?
Like 17, 18.
Okay.
Like, they try to do it as young as possible. I get why they do that to some extent, because I think that they're being realistic in terms of, like, how long can we do this? How long can we go on like this?
Yeah.
But they make you feel guilty for ever having any curiosity about the opposite sex.
Really?
Yes. And so I kind of started to block it out at a certain point.
Yeah. But your hormones are going when you're a teenager and stuff, and you're feeling certain ways, and you're curious about girls or boys. You know what I'm saying? Like how do you control that as a teenager? It must be very difficult to pretend it's not happening.
Well, no, like, I tried to turn it off when I was like 10, 11,
Yeah.
because that's not sure if I'm allowed to say this here, but
You can say whatever you want.
that's why I started masturbating.
Okay.
But then, like, around the age of 15 is when I kind of had my complete, like,
Yeah.
with the cult, because I had a very bad experience.
Okay.
So what had happened is that, so rather than, like, like, horny summer camp or whatever,
Mhm.
during spring break one year, and this would happen like several times a year, they did like we called it a retreat. Let's just say that.
Okay.
At the church, like the local church,
Mhm.
that we have, and there was this one kid who he liked to make, and he was a pastor's kid, so he was like the classic PK.
Mhm.
Everyone knows that, right? Like, like the PK is always a dick.
Yeah.
So we were doing, like, praise time or whatever, and so, like, the youth pastor had put on some music, and they were putting on some song from Tarzan, and we were all like praise worshiping or whatever.
Yeah.
And then he starts, like, overdoing it and, like, and making everyone laugh. And I lost it. I completely lost it. I was going to kill this kid. Like, and my sister had to physically drag me out of the room.
So something just snapped in you.
Yeah. And then my parents came to pick us up because they said, like, oh, Jonghee had an episode of some kind, so, like, can you come and get her? Well, we were supposed to drive up to Terrytown, to Reverend Moon's estate,
Mm-hmm.
so that we could go to this specific spot called the Prayer Rock. And I, like, turned to one of my friends there, and I just said, should I come or not? And she's like, come if you want. And, like, so I went. And I went there. And I prayed. And I didn't talk to anyone on the way up there. I prayed, and I prayed, and I prayed. And I realized I heard nothing.
So you had a breakthrough that day.
Yeah. And so I just sat there at this rock and realized that there was nothing.
Yeah.
Years later, I realized that it actually didn't mean that I didn't believe in God. It's just that I didn't believe in bullshit.
Yeah. Yeah.
And because to this day, I believe in God, and I believe that God believes in Claude, and that's me.
Yeah. Yeah. And, how were did your siblings ever have kind of that breakthrough like you did as well, where they're like, wow, this is all bullshit. Like, what are we doing? Like, this is not how someone lives.
Well, I mean, my older sister converted to Judaism,
Mm-hmm.
which I'm in the process of doing now.
Mm-hmm.
My immediately younger sister converted to Islam.
Mm-hmm.
And my two youngest sisters are just being Gen Zs.
Yeah.
They're just being Gen Zs and pretending that they're non-binary and shit like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's like all of us came to it in our own way, I suppose. But so sometimes people think that my name is made up. That I'm just trying to cosplay Asian or something. And it's first of all, no, that's my name. That's my given name.
Mm-hmm.
And I did come to accept it. There was times when I was younger when I did want to change it. But
it's who you are, though.
Yeah. Well, it's you can't take my name from me.
Yeah.
And also, that's the biggest takeaway that I have from growing up in this cult is that you don't get to take God from me.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's a very liberating thing to feel.
Yeah. And whenever you turned 15 and you just kind of knew this wasn't for you anymore. You're like, this is not where I belong. And so how did you approach your parents with that? Wasn't there didn't you have part of your story where you had to go out and do certain things at a certain age, where you had to go out to the public and try to collect money or something?
Yes. So that became the uncomfortable part because honestly, after that revelation, I went super hard on the cult. In terms of just taking it.
Mm-hmm.
And just taking it. And then so I'm something called the second generation.
Okay.
Which means I'm completely free of original sin. So you're welcome for that. No, really, they think that that's the whole thing, and it's a tradition in general for people to take off a year between high school and college,
mm-hmm.
A mission, kind of like a Mormon,
yeah.
And I refuse to do it.
And do they pick where you're going to go to do this year, or you can go wherever you want?
You can go wherever you want, and also most if you're a Mooney kid, you know that this is coming, and so you look up where can I go? Because they have programs in Europe, they have programs in South America, they have programs in Asia. They you can pick. It's not. It's but it is what you're expected to do. So when I told my parents I was absolutely not going to do it, 4th of July, 2010, I'm standing with my father because my father absolutely has to see the fireworks in person.
Okay.
I'm standing with my father, and I was the only one who wanted to go with him. And he says, I said something about something happening 3 days from now. He's like, oh, you want to be here? I'm like, what are you talking about? And he's like, oh, yeah, you're going to Guatemala in 3 days. And I was like, what? He's like, yeah, because you won't do your mission for a year. At least you can do it for a couple of months. And yeah. And so they shipped me off to Guatemala. And I almost killed myself.
And what were you supposed to do while you were in Guatemala?
Well, they thought it would be a good fit because it was for a school.
Okay.
And I was like, I went there and there were a bunch of other like Europeans who had gotten roped in somehow. But all they wanted to do was like drink and smoke and whatever. And also they like, when I was actually physically there, they put me in a shack because they ran out of rooms.
Oh my goodness.
So they put me in a shack that was full of bugs. Like I used to just put the covers over my head and sit and just tell myself, the game would be, do I even want to know?
Yeah. That's horrible.
And I didn't stay the full 6 weeks because like the whole thing is that you're supposed to do a 40-day mission at least. So I was supposed to stay there 40 days because of Jesus. And after 3 weeks, I told my parents, I'm going to spend the last bit of my money. I'm coming home right now. Because if I stay here a second longer, I will kill myself. And I left.
And did your parents let you come back home?
They did, but they didn't talk to me for a week.
Yeah.
And they didn't let me eat for a week.
Oh, really? As a punishment for coming home?
Yeah, because I didn't want to kill myself.
I mean, did they let you talk to a doctor or let you go talk to a psychologist or anything?
Real, because they don't think that's real.
Really?
I mean, like, same thing, like, I mean, I think the reason, like, I'm not sure about my father, but the reason my mother is so sensitive about this is because her mother she was in a psychiatric hospital.
She was mentally ill.
Yeah, and like they said it was schizophrenia, but like that's what they call everything those days.
Yeah.
So yeah, her mother was mentally ill, and so she's very sensitive and doesn't like to think that it affects us.
Yeah, I mean, it can affect anybody, you know? I mean, if you have if you're thinking about that you want to harm yourself or kill yourself, that's what the purpose of going to the psychologist is. I can't believe that they didn't, I mean, it's another world that I'm not, I have no idea about, but I just can't believe that they didn't want to take it seriously.
I wasn't diagnosed with bipolar for another like 2 years.
And then when you told them you were diagnosed as bipolar, did it?
Bullshit. And they still
really?
I think it's bullshit. It's more than 15 years later, and they still think it's bullshit.
I'm so sorry that happened.
God heal me.
Yeah. So when you came back, you were there for a week where they didn't talk to you. You weren't eating for a week, and what happened next in your life? Did you want to leave? Did you try to leave?
I went to college.
Okay.
Because that's what I told them. Because that's the reason they were so mad at me, is because I was trying to skip my gap year and I wanted to just go to college.
Okay. So you went to college and did that, and that helped put you in the real world at that point, right? Because did you go away, or were at home living going to college?
I was away, yeah, but I was close by. Like I was like 2 hours away.
Okay, but at least you didn't have to live there every day with them, right? So
no, and like that's. I never told them this. I did get accepted into Columbia. I could have gone there, but I didn't want to live at home.
Yeah. Okay. Wow.
That's why I had to go to Pennsylvania.
Yeah. I mean, I see why you wouldn't want to go to Columbia, because who would want to be at home with that? You know, you need to. Wow. So when you went to college is kind of whenever your life started getting better and you were able to figure out who you really were and not part of this cult anymore. Is that accurate?
Yes. I mean, like, even high school helped with that. Like, just, I mean, it was like half the way.
Yeah.
Like, I discovered that I'm an artist, like in a very big way. Like, I loved doing my jazz, and I loved making theater.
Mm-hmm.
I loved movies, and I loved all these other things. And when I went to college, I initially was supposed to be a history major, and I ended up being a theater and music major, which makes me the most useless person alive. But it's what I think I'm meant to do.
Yeah.
And I like that. When it was really such a blessing. And I graduated and with almost no debt.
Wow. Congratulations. That's an accomplishment right there.
They had like the best aid program in the country. And so and then anything I didn't have, my aunt, the one who is not really my aunt, but she's my dad's spiritual mother, paid off anything else. So,
wow. Amazing.
I'm good. I know a lot of people at my age are still paying off their debt. So
I know people at my age that are still paying off their debt. So yes, it's something that could haunt you for a very long time. So you're very lucky.
Yeah, that's a really special thing, and I'm extremely grateful for that. And people judged me.
I'm sorry, in college and the cult, you're saying?
In both. Because I kind of stopped talking to anyone in the cult.
Yeah.
At a certain point. Even though some of my sisters are still in touch with them. And, for example, the ones that are still in touch with my other sisters, now they're all just, gay and slutty. I don't know the way to put it, but you know what I mean.
Right? Yeah.
They're all just being gay and slutty.
Okay.
And, which is fine. You're a little overcorrecting, I feel. Because some of you, I feel like, are not actually gay.
Yeah. So they're just trying to figure out who they are and picking something that's extreme.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's the ones who are still kind of in. And that's what I really don't get.
So was there sexual abuse? Were they abusing kids sexually or each other sexually during this? Yes.
It never happened to us. But I know many people that it happened to.
Yeah. And did your parents protect you from that or
yeah.
Okay.
I'm really grateful for that. That's why I can't really hate them.
Yeah.
I'm because they made sure that never happened for us. And there was this whole concept of gift children.
Mm-hmm.
If there was a couple who couldn't have kids, then you would if you had a child, you would just give it. And people would approach my mom all the time about this and try to be can I have it? And she was like, the fuck? No.
Yeah.
And my dad was there. And also my dad was actually kind of a maverick. Back in the day when he was, working the streets, I suppose. Then they would have this thing about oh, you can't have a car and you can't wear jeans. And he's like, I'm going to buy the biggest fucking car. I'm going to buy all the jeans. And he did.
Well, what are they expecting to wear? Dress pants or khakis or something? Is that what?
They kind of wanted to look like Mormon missionaries.
Got it. Okay.
So it's but yeah. So my dad bought a bunch of jeans and he bought a car and he's like, I don't care what you motherfuckers think. I'm going to do this. And so they always were ones to kind of break their rules. So honestly, if anything, I was kind of given the easy side of the road.
And what about your younger sisters? Obviously, have rebelled in a different way, but were any of you ever almost chosen to have to be selected to be with somebody to get married, or were you all able to avoid that?
Okay, so actually, my older sister, because I'm second of 5,
Okay.
she told my parents that she would only go on like the mission thing if they would start the matching process for her. Because like this was, so Southern Young didn't die until I want to say 2012, but before then, they had become a thing where like parents were supposed to do the matching.
Okay.
And so she said, I'll only go if you start doing the matching process for me. And she actually even met up with a couple of potential spouses. I mean, she didn't like them. And I don't think she was ever really committed to it anyway. I think she kind of just wanted a year-long break.
Yeah.
Because she was a very academically rigorous person. My fourth sister, Holmesay, she was also in the matching process with someone for a while. Another one, actually, my immediately younger sister, she was also in a matching process. Like, pretty much all of them had been in matching processes at some point.
Yeah.
But they were mostly set up by the parents rather than like the pointing.
So he's the Reverend's now, Moon is now dead. So is there somebody still running the organization, his family or something?
There has since been a massive schism. And now there's 3 sects.
Okay.
There is the wife, John. There is the son, Preston.
Okay.
And there is the mother-in-law, who, well, this is exhausting because she's supposed to be like the spiritual embodiment of Reverend Moon's mother. And like, it's a whole thing. And no one really cares about that part. So that's fine. But you might have heard about the gun cult.
Yes, I heard there's a huge amount of weapons that they have. So tell me about that.
They do. Okay, so one of the evilest parts about the whole Mooney cult is their kind of the ways that they are making their money. And one of those big things has always been munitions.
Wow.
Anyway, so now they have like this big ass, and they're on the government watch list. Like, this is no joke. Like, this is not not a small thing. They have this like little compound in Pennsylvania, and when my parents are here, they always go. They and basically they're just like, guns represent like our freedom and stuff or something.
Yeah.
And they all have AR-15s and say that that's a sign of God.
So you think they're planning something big one day to like? I mean, obviously, there sounds like they're anti-government. So.
Years ago, I don't know if this was this year or last year. A couple of years ago, they literally closed down all the schools because they had some like rally.
Wow.
And it's like, that's not how God works. And then, so there's a schism between the mother, the son, and the mother-in-law.
Mm-hmm.
And so they all slam stuff at each other every day. And it's crazy. And honestly, most of the people I know who grew up in like, so again, I'm second gen.
Mm-hmm.
Which means, and there's not a lot of third gen, and there's definitely not a lot of fourth gen, but most people are out. And it shows, and I don't feel bad. Because, like, to peddle this to people, to, like, for kids to understand that, like, oh, this is why mom didn't have money. I'm sure you heard about the guy who killed the Prime Minister of Japan.
Oh yes, I did. That was a Mooney.
It was because he accepted money from the Moonies, and
I see,
who had like sucked his mom's wealth dry. Like, they have no shame in terms of that, and it's sick. It's sick.
So they take money away from a family and then they don't care what happens to the family afterwards. They don't care if they're starving, whatever. They just want whatever they can get.
Yeah. I mean, I know a lot of people who like, again, my parents were not as gullible. Like they were, I mean, they're gullible enough to believe in it, but they didn't like do crazy things. I know some people who I mean, my mom was in Russia during the August coup, pregnant with me. And
on a mission.
Yeah.
Wow.
And they didn't know she was going to get out. And they didn't care if she was going to get out.
And when they send someone on a mission, is there a certain amount of money that they expect you to bring back?
Oh, yes. Oh, yes. Yeah. Wait, hold on. So here's the thing. If you don't make the money that they expect you to make, they don't even pick you up.
And what's that amount? Is it a different amount for everybody, or is there an average amount that they expect you to make?
I mean, I don't know what it was then, but like now, like if you don't, like my sisters would tell me, because again, I didn't ever really do this.
Yeah.
If you don't make $500 by the end of the night, you aren't getting picked up.
A night?
Yeah.
Wow. It's almost like prostitution in a way.
It's labor trafficking.
Yeah.
They tempt and they feel no shame.
And so you do whatever you need to do to get the money. So if you're begging people or doing work for somebody, or
my sister told me about this, they would do this thing where they just dropped them off with no product and said, find somewhere to stay tonight. And they would have to just go knocking on doors, begging people to let them stay. And if they couldn't do it, they'd have to sleep on the street.
At 17.
Yeah.
It's just unbelievable to me that somebody's parents would let their kids go through this and have to sleep on the street. And I still can't believe that you came home and after your mission, and they didn't talk to you for a week, which is okay. I can understand they're mad because you didn't follow the rules, but not to give you food for a week, that's insane. That's insanity that they treated you that way. It's such abuse.
I mean, they didn't see it as a problem. They saw it as a weakness of spirit.
So do you think that it will eventually, this whole thing, I mean, they have this compound in Pennsylvania, but it sounds like people are like now smarter and are not continuing on with it, or they're not getting new members necessarily. So do you think it will eventually fizzle out, this cult, or do you think it's something that they'll keep going with their family and try to start it up again with other people and stuff? So, I mean, if they're making money, I can't see them walking away from it.
I think it's going to go.
You do?
Unfortunately, yes. Like, I think it's just going to keep happening. And especially because they're so rich. Like, the Moon family is so rich.
Yeah.
If you haven't, you have to watch the Netflix doc about it, because it's kind of crazy.
But how much money do they need? Like, what do they keep? What? Like, it's insane. Like, I guess once you're rich, you just want to keep getting more and more.
Bajillionaires.
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't stop.
I will watch the Netflix documentary. I'm going to watch it this weekend.
Yeah, unfortunately, I think at this point, it's a little unstoppable. Yeah. Because it's not even funded by people anymore. It's funded by money. So, yeah, that kind of sucks. But that's the reality.
I mean, I'm surprised the government hasn't gone in since they have all this.
Wow. And also, Sun Moon crowned himself as king at the Senate.
Oh.
Like, he did this in like 2000 or 2003 or something like that. Like he literally put a crown on himself and said, I am the king of the world.
And what was the reaction when he did that?
There were a bunch of Senate people and Congress people and whatever the hell else, and they all clapped.
So bizarre.
It's a very weird thing. Like, the hold he had on people and continues to have even after being dead for 10 years.
So just to kind of confirm, the whole religion was really, he wanted everybody to worship him, right? He was the God in this scenario.
Well, she's the second coming of Christ.
Second coming of Christ, okay. And people just accepted this. They just...
A lot of people did. Like, it's bigger than Scientology.
Yeah. I mean, it sounds much worse than Scientology.
It's a lot worse than Scientology, and it's bigger and it's more insidious.
Yeah. So tell me what your life is like today. I feel like you have a more, you're into theater, you're teaching, like you have a normal life. You have a boyfriend also, is that correct?
Yes.
So you've ended up surviving this trauma. You've ended up, doing really much better for yourself than probably another person could have after going through this. Like, do you ever stop and think that for a minute about how lucky you are that you were able to turn around and have a good life?
I mean, of course. I mean, I consider it every day. That, like, this experiences that I wouldn't have had I just constricted myself.
Yeah.
To that mindset. There's people I wouldn't have met.
Yeah.
Things I wouldn't have done. Some things I regret. I don't think that they're because of my upbringing. Yeah. I'm in a way, I'm grateful.
I mean, you're a survivor. Like, this has made you strong.
I'm grateful. I am grateful, actually. That's, like, honestly, that's how I put it, because in a weird way, it deepened my relationship with God.
Mm-hmm.
Because I got to find out that no one gets to ruin that for me.
Mm-hmm. Good for you.
And that's, like, cool.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool. That's pretty fucking cool. Like,
yeah, that's amazing.
That I don't need reassurance that I believe in God, because someone tried to take that away from me my entire life. Mm-hmm. And I got to say no.
Yeah.
And I still believe.
Good for you. And why did you pick Judaism? Is your boyfriend Jewish?
I mean, yeah, all my boyfriends have been Jewish.
Okay. My husband's Jewish too, so I get it. So
I might have a problem.
No, my first love was Jewish, and then my husband is Jewish. So I'm with you. I understand where you're coming from. We're on the same page. Well, I think you're a remarkable person. Is there anything you wanted that you didn't say that you'd want to just let people know about the Moonies and just overall?
I guess just like, no, I mean, sometimes just because someone's name is Asian doesn't mean they're Asian.
Okay. Yeah. Well, I think you're an incredible person. I think you're such a survivor, and I'm so happy that I got to meet you. And I think you have an inspiring story that you were able to survive all this, that you went to college. I'm really happy for you now, and I'm glad that you have found, that you still believe in the God that you believe. That you're converting to Judaism. I think that's amazing for you, and it sounds like you're living the life that you always wanted to live, and that's so important. And I'm really happy for you now.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're
you too. Like, you're a great interviewer, and this was a wonderful experience.
Thank you so much. I'm so glad I got to talk with you. If anybody has any comments, please be sure to leave them in the podcast or send me a DM, and I can put you in touch with her if you have other questions. But I really, really appreciate you coming on my show. And again, you're a huge inspiration for people, and I think that people are just going to love to hear your story. So thank you again. Thanks everybody for listening. Be sure to leave a comment and subscribe.